Basically, we think Bernie got cheated, and we want to know why he didn't fight about that. And we want to know why Bernie didn't say, wait a minute, something is not right here. Between Iowa and Nevada and everything in between, something went very awry.
Especially with what happened in Iowa with Pete Buttigieg and that whole the way that whole thing went down.
I feel like was just a scam.
Well, look, I'll say a few things that are broad without being exactly specific. Typically, I find, having now worked in politics for 20 years, that politics is much more Veep than House of Cards. Okay, so House of Cards presents a world in which 17,000 pieces are put into place, and there's, puppet masters and the like.
Yeah.
And I am kind of with, I think it was Noam Chomsky who sort of said this, which is that typically these vast conspiracy theories aren't actually completely as vast as we think, because human beings wouldn't be able to keep secrets as well as these sort of theories are. So all of that to say, it's not to say that there aren't bad faith people out there trying to rig elections. It's only to say that lots of what we see in politics is more Veep, which is a lot of incompetent, not well-trained or sort of not nefarious, just ill-equipped people running around trying to figure things out, which of course allows for an environment for bad faith actors to do bad things. So my point is only in saying that I think there were bad faith people in the Iowa caucuses, for instance, but there was also a lot of Veep in the Iowa caucuses, with the app and with all that stuff. It was a lot of it was just like they just blew it, right? Like it just didn't, it was ridiculous, right? So I don't like to use the word like steal. I do think that the Democratic Party process is systemically rigged against people like Bernie Sanders, against anybody who runs against the establishment. It is inherently rigged. It is like shouldn't even be up for debate. It's rigged from the establishment endorsements. It's rigged from money. It's rigged from how hard it is to get, in many places, to get even on the ballot. Okay, and again, I'm the spouse of somebody who ran against a Democratic incumbent and defeated a Democratic incumbent from scratch, right? That I think was the first time in 40 years that it ever happened in Colorado. Don't quote me on that, but the point is that the system openly, without having a conspiracy theory, the system openly is. I mean, I remember that whole race. Like I remember being like, wow, why is it this difficult for you to just get on the ballot? Like, how is it this hard? Like, it's insane. Like, why is it? So the point is that I'm a kind of reporter who believes that 80% of the nefarious stuff that's happening in politics is right there to be read right in the fine print. You don't have to suss out some secret. It's right there, right? So as it relates to Bernie, like, look, running in a primary against first, the Hillary Clinton, the most famous Democrat in the world in 2016, running as Joe Biden, a former vice president, like, that's a real uphill climb. I mean, people have asked me, why did Bernie lose? Did he lose because of this? Did he lose because of that? And look, I have my own, shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Like, I was somebody who was pushing for us to contrast a lot more sharply with Biden than we ended up doing. And at times we did. And there's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. But if you want a reason why Bernie Sanders didn't win the primary, I'm sorry. It's not a very satisfying reason. Okay? And the largest pot is like a pot. Like this slice and this slice. Okay, you want the biggest slice of the pie? Immediate past vice presidents of parties almost never lose their party's nomination. It almost never happens. Like 70 or 80 years. I mean, you got to count Alvin Barkley, who like kind of only sort of ran 70 years ago. And if you're not counting him, it's like 100 years. So my point is not to say that it wasn't winnable. It's only to say that if you're looking at the pie, why did we not? Yeah, we could have done this, we could have done that, and this could have rigged another. But 75% of it is like the dude was the the immediate past vice president, and they don't typically lose. Now you can analyze that and say, why does the Democratic Party, why does the Republican, why do voters typically reward the immediate past vice president of their party? And that's a fair question, because it's a very bizarre phenomenon, right? A country that claims to be unhappy with its politics is constantly re-electing incumbents and constantly renominating these people who were in the government that the people in polls say they are upset with. So there's a really weird cognitive dissonance here that, like, that people get into government, then they're constantly reelected from a population that says it's not happy with its government. It's extremely strange.
Well, we have a non-functioning republic. That's what I call it. We have a non-functioning republic. When you have 3/4 of the people want a certain policy and that's not the policy that we have, then there is a disconnect between what we want and what is happening. That's a non-functioning republic.
Yeah, I agree.
That happened a long time ago.
What I've just laid out is even more weird, right? Which is, it's one thing for the government, the legislators who are bankrolled by corporations and the like, not delivering for their constituents. It's a whole other thing for voters to say, I'm unhappy with the government. I don't like the parties. I think Washington's corrupt, and I'm just voting to reelect the incumbent, and I'm voting for the existing party leaders over and over and over again in an aristocratic sort of dynastic.
Well, we like monarchies, apparently. We like it. And I'll tell you what, though, but yet all of what you said makes sense to me, except for then I keep having this nagging image of Barack Obama in my head, sort of saying something like along the lines of, well, if Bernie looks like he's going to do well, I'll have to get involved. And then I recall him actually doing so. Was I imagining that? Because that's what it seemed like to me. Well, I don't think that it would have gone this way without him.
Look, Obama, I think, has played frankly, I think he's played an incredibly, incredibly destructive role in so many ways. And I know that's not a popular thing to say, but I will give you my spiel. Barack Obama came in and could have been FDR. He had a mandate to do essentially whatever he wanted. And he used his power to shield Wall Street and the health insurance industry from real systemic change. I'm sorry. I don't enjoy that. I don't like that. I think it's the biggest
devastating. It's heartbreaking to me.
It really is. He also put the thumb on the scales for Hillary Clinton. He essentially took Joe Biden out of obscurity, made him his vice president. I mean, there's a lot of 2 degrees of separation to Barack Obama for what we're living through. I would argue that his refusal to adequately respond to the financial crisis in a serious way, in an FDR-like way, ultimately set the stage for the Tea Party, ultimately set the stage, the conditions for Donald Trump to dishonestly take advantage of. I think this is indisputable. I know a lot of people don't like to hear it. They don't
want anybody to criticize him, but he's worthy of criticism. And
but I'm not. The thing is, I'm not even at a certain point. I'm not. It's not like criticism. It's like mourning. It's like mourning, mourning, right? It's sad. It's like this. I think we're going to look back at 2009 and 2010, if we're being honest, as the period of the most opportunity and the greatest failure to take advantage of that opportunity to the greatest destruction in the last, since at least the Great Depression. I mean, imagine if you really rewind, and granted, in all admission, I'm working right now on a long series about the sort of through line from the financial crisis to Donald Trump.
It's connected. It's important to see that.
It is. And it's important to remember it now, because if we redo that loop, we're going to get worse than Donald Trump. But I think that we have to understand that because they didn't just have 51 Senate votes, they had 60 Democrats in that Senate caucus.
No, they had a filibuster-proof Senate, and we couldn't even get a public option.
But
hold on. Not only could we not get a public option, we couldn't even get a floor vote in the Senate.
Yeah.
We couldn't even get a vote.
Yeah.
On the floor. So like it's painful because Barack Obama is a compelling figure. He is a likable figure. He is a smart person. He is, I spent a whole day with him in 2006. I wrote a Nation article about spending the day just with him, trailing him, and like, he's a super compelling, smart person, which actually makes it that much worse and that much more sad, because he knows, and he refused to have the courage to do what was necessary. Now, I grant everybody who says that, look, he was facing first African-American president. He faced unique challenges with that. And, are you going to get caricatured? And he had to navigate that. I totally understand that. That makes total sense. But he had, every president.
He runs his cabinet with Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, every president has to navigate different things. And okay, you had to navigate that. And I get that. But he came in with this huge mandate. And, the thing is that and we go back to the point that we talked about. If people are mad, rightly so. If people are starving and struggling and being thrown out of their homes, the anger is going to go somewhere if you don't deliver.
Yeah.
It's going somewhere. It went to the Republicans in 2010. Obama managed to survive in 2012, but the Republicans kept control of Congress. It ultimately became Donald Trump. And the point for now is, if the Democrats don't learn, you must deliver. If you can't even put $2,000 in people's pockets that you promised in a George Bush read my lips kind of way, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think you're just going to get? Maybe you'll get away with it for a while, but what do you think is going to happen?
Guillotines, man. I say you're not going to be able to build your moats wide enough. And if somebody was putting a guillotine in front of my house, I would have some serious self-reflection as to why that would be. And it's yet these people are completely unfazed by this. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.